It's in our sports vernacular. It is intertwined with our daily social and professional existence. You want to describe something big, something that really matters. Terms like home run, touchdown, slam dunk, and knockout. Perhaps in the future generations we'll also hear, hey, I armbarred that one. I triangle choked it right out of the park. Maybe. But right now it's still more the knockout seems to be what grabs everyone's style. And that brings us up to this. What about the different styles right now in MMA? Of course, there are specialists on the ground. There are specialists standing up. And what does it all mean in the big picture? I'll start with you down on the end there, Mark. Let me ask you, when you're putting an MFC show together, and you put some exciting shows, I have not seen a bad MFC show because of the matchups you have. What are you looking for in a fighter? A knockout guy against a submission guy, or how does it work?
Listen, I retrieve the emails every time after a show, and I listen to the fans, what they say. And I've been in this business since the beginning, and I'll tell you, most people now are looking for that complete fighter. The complete fighter that can have that stand-up finish. That's what fans want to see. I mean, you have guys now, and we see what's going on right now with the fights lately. There's lots of long, drawn-out decisions with lots of fights, and I don't know. I listen to the fans, man, and they want to see guys getting knocked out. They really do.
Yep. Forrest?
I think, it takes a little more understanding to appreciate the submission. You have to have kind of done it before. And I think as our societal vernacular kind of grows and expounds, we kind of, people do this now when they're kids, so they understand how difficult it is to pull this or that off. So I think, submission's it's growing just in our common knowledge.
And I save you for last, Antonio. Because recently, a statement you made surfaced involving a couple of guys I work with, one very closely sitting here to my left. You were critical of Bas Rutten and Guy Mezger, our president of HDNet Fights, being critical of you. At least that's been attributed to you. You took exception to them saying that you were a boring fighter, I believe. So let's clear it all up while we're all here together.
Let's clear it up. First of all, boring is not in my vocabulary. I'm extremely technical, and the way I just diffuse everything.
If I may interrupt you just for a minute.
Go right ahead.
So I'm not questioning that at all right now. I'm just saying what you said about Bas and Guy, is that what you meant? Is that accurate?
What did I say?
Well, here's what's attributed to you.
Okay.
That basically you would put money on the table to take them on because you had heard that they said you were a boring fighter and you took exception to them being critical.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They couldn't stop me.
What do you mean, like you just discovered this?
No. When you say that, you got to be more specific with me because I get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I say a lot of stuff. So, yeah, absolutely. I would challenge either one of those guys, even with the weight differences. It wouldn't bother me at all.
Yeah, but it would be for a takedown. You said that you put $1,000 down that you were going to take us down. And I go, I didn't hear that conversation. And I said, he will take me down. That's for sure because that's your game. It's like me playing a striking game with you, But can he do something with the takedown? That's what we're talking about. Last time I said, you're not that exciting, and the fans want to see an exciting fighter. And I'm pretty sure that Mark also, he wants to see a fence. Like the last fight, you submitted a guy.
Right.
You see, now that's what people want to see. And if you have 24 wins and 20 of those wins go the distance, then you're not an exciting fighter, and it could hurt you when your contract ends, and then you're going to go.
But don't you look at it the same way though? I agree with what you're saying, boss. I'm in the business of excitement. I have to have excitement. At the same time as you look at guys like John Fitch and George St. Pierre, and people are talking about them like they're the second coming of Christ. At the same time as I look at both of them as a B-level Antonio McKee, what they're doing. John Fitch, after the fight with Alves the other day, same thing. When the fight's over, Alves didn't have a scratch on his face, right? So I agree with what you're saying. I do believe he has to start finishing more. There's no question he has to start finishing fights. That's what's going to bring him to the next level of people going, okay, he's a legitimate fighter. And an exciting fighter, right?
That's the only thing.
Do you look at their faces? There's not one person that didn't get stitches or busted up bad. So they call me the Snuggie Blanket. I'm the Snuggie Blanket with razor blades on it. Would you let your kid lay in bed with it? Their faces are messed up, but you don't see what I'm doing because it's that sweet science.
No. To me and to the other fighters, that's for us not. For you take him down, you wrap an arm behind the back,
right,
and then you start hitting. Now instead of like throwing like a bag in front of a cable machine, start throwing punches with that, improve your punching position, knocking people out. Man, I'm going to stand up and I bow to you.
Right.
I'm going to say, okay, now this is finishing. This is kicking people's asses. Right now, it's not kicking people's asses. It's laying on somebody and just going the distance and ride it out. That's what it looks to every fighter. Since that comment, I asked every fighter that I met, and every guy that knows mixed martial arts, and I just said, hey, Antonio McKee, you know him? Yeah. What do you think of his fighting style? And he would say it's boring.
Right.
Yeah. So now with the last fight you're having with the submission, then I say, okay, you're on the tear. Now you got to keep going. Show us some knockouts.
I have a strange suspicion, though, this next fight, with all this criticism, and you're right, justifiable criticism, that we are going to see a very big difference in the fight come September 10th. He's fighting Acevedo, who's the only person ever beat Jose Aldo. Yeah. I signed him on purpose for that fact. This kid right now is... He's talking more smack than Antonio about the fight, but it's in Portuguese, right? Yeah. And I'm telling you, like, he's a guy that says, I have to finish this fight. Like, he's not worried about what Antonio's doing. He says, I'm going to bring the fight to him to put him in the position to finish. A lot of guys fight Antonio like Noble and the rest of these guys, and they basically fought very safe, and they kind of tried to stay away from him because they knew about the takedown. So, I mean...
Throughout most of this conversation, Forrest has been shaking his head. So...
I mean, I think it's nonsense. It's your job to make exciting fights. It's your job to win fights. Winning the fight's winning the fight. Don't take chances and lose if you don't have to. You know, I wouldn't. I mean, if you're winning and you're dominating people, it's not like a count. You don't get paid per stitch. Doesn't matter. Just win fights.
It does matter for the
promoter.
For the promoter. It does matter for the promoter. That's the only thing I said, by the way. And I told you here on the show. I said, listen, I just want you to start pulling off submission. I didn't say anything bad.
Forget about this whole thing back. Forget about the promoter. It's the fans. They cry for it. Trust me. They try. You can say all you want. No offense, Forrest. But when you say it's about the promoters and it's your job to win, that's not true anymore. When I'm charging $600 to sit in the front row of the seat and the guy's paying that money, he wants to see people fighting. That's the bottom line. You can sit and argue all day, just about finishing the fight. That's just like Dana the other day. He sits there and they're talking about Fitch for the title shot. All of a sudden, after watching that fight, he's changing his tune a little bit because he's like, I don't know if I want to put him in that position, right? Because he doesn't want another 5-round drawn-out fight. He wants to see somebody finish. Hey, listen, I have all the respect in the world for Antonio. I defend him at every corner I go to. He's a great fighter. He's a great technical fighter. But people are crying for him to finish. There's no question.
That's where we're going now. You know, I made a statement. I said, this fight right here against Acevedo, if it goes to a boring decision or I don't finish the fight, I'm going to retire. Because obviously the sport, to me, the way I see it, isn't developed or evolved yet to appreciate a guy like me in the sport. So I'll walk away and just be a great coach. You know, I'm going to go out here. It's not about winning this fight. Because I already know if I go and do what I do, I'm going to win. Yeah. I'm going to go out here now and try to entertain the fans and see if I can win entertaining the fans. And with all this smack Acevedo's talking, calling me old man and all that, it's really pulled something deep inside that I missed and left in the ghetto, that I went back to the ghetto and got it, and I can't wait to display it on TV. And that's the end of it.
And you know what? And when you do that, and even when you're going to lose, fighters will respect you more, and fans will respect you more for that than to doing what you're doing now. And that's the only thing I'm trying to say.
And I think that's because of me. If it was another fighter, I don't think it would be the same respect level, but because of who I am and what I do, I think that's why it's going to be that way, and that's why I'm going to put it on the line. I may lose this fight because I'm going to go out there to bang.
That's why.
See this? Toe-to-toe, that's what we're going to do. And I hope I can knock his head off. But you know what? This is the last of the hurrah. So if I go out here and do what I'm supposed to do, people are excited. Maybe I'll get a little bit more money and I'll have more incentive to go out and fight and bang it out again. So that's where it's at. I'm simply fed up with the critics.
Like what Forrest said
I'm just ready to go get down. Just whatever happens, happens.
It's a healthy fear to not want to get hit, isn't it, Forrest?
It's a dangerous proposition to change your game plan.
Yeah. That's coming from a champ. You know,
something that works, I'll just keep doing that.